Welcome to my Asshole Podcast. Let's get into it. Today is Thursday's episode, and you know what we got for Thursday? We got a Court of Thorns and Roses Day, baby. Oh, yeah. It's getting good. It's getting good. We have chapters 33 and 34 on deck for today, and man, I'm excited to see what happened to our boys, all right? To our boys Lucian and Tamlin. What the fuck happened? Because when we last left off, our girl Feyre, she was just like, you know what? I'm missing my man's dick. All right, let's be real. All right. She was missing. She got her some Tamlin meat and was like, oh yeah, I needs that. I needs that on a platter, baby. I can't be back at home with my whack-ass family and, whack-ass friends, and then I gotta see my ex walking around with some other bitch. Like, fuck no. I'm about to go get my man because he's fighting a war with this, I forgot what her fucking name is, Amaranthia or some shit. And so, she went back to the manor. She saw it all crumbled up and whatnot. She didn't see him. So let's see what's going down. I'm excited to see what happens. So, but without further ado, on Tuesday, we did a bit of a thread, and it was, men, what do women not get? So today, we're going to flip that thing down and reverse it, and we're going to do women, what do men not get? All right? And a lot of the one on Tuesday was just, women don't understand silence. Women don't understand we can think about nothing, shit like that. I'm excited to see what the common occurrence is that, what women think that men don't get. I'm excited. Let's see. All right. The vagina is a naturally moist place. When we say we're dry, don't imagine dry skin, imagine your mouth. Normally it's a wet place, right? But when we say we're wet, it's noticeable. Like you smell something delicious and you're salivating so much that you have to swallow it. That is wet, not normal mouth feel wet. Okay. All right. I mean, you learn something new every day, because you gotta understand, I don't have a vagina. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't have a vagina. I don't fucking know. So, so good to know. You know what I mean? I'm glad to learn stuff. Appreciate it. All right. Menstruation cramps is no joke. We are not pretending to be in pain. Hey, for me, I'm the type of guy where periods only stop a sentence, and I've done my research. I've heard sex on your period, relieves a bit of that pain. So I'm like, hey, come here, baby. Shit, we go. I'll go get an old towel or some shit, lay that motherfucker down. Let's get rid of them cramps, baby girl. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, like, hey, let's get it done. Shit, like, come on now. But buy her some chocolates, be a little accommodating. We good. All right, sometimes I'm quiet because I don't want to talk or have nothing on my mind. I also look out the passenger window when I'm a passenger because I like looking out the window. It's not because I'm mad. It's because when I drive, I never get to look out the window. All right, that's kind of cute. Yeah, a lot of times if I'm in the car with a girl and she's not really saying anything, you know what I mean, but she's just vibing and obviously we're not in a fight and we're kind of chilling. A lot of times I let her do her thing, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times she's just preoccupied. So then I just get preoccupied, or I just, focus on driving, or a lot of times, I just look over and just be like, she's so cute. You know what I mean? Maybe she's dated dudes that have been very insecure and they're just like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Why are you not? What's wrong? You know what I mean? I guarantee you she's kind of probably she's probably dated some dudes that were kind of very insecure with that kind of shit. And they're always asking, what's wrong? And are you okay? And is everything fine? Like, bro, chill. Let her be in her head a little bit. You know what I mean? Like give her some space. It's that whole, like, I enjoy being in proximity of you, but we don't necessarily have to, interact. You know what I mean? Like we're spending time together, but we ain't really spending time together. You know, I like that shit. And I like that girls are on the same page with that. You know, they're like, look. I'm not talking to you because I hate you. I'm just vibing. I'm chilling. I'm hanging out with you. So I like that. That ignoring their mom being passive aggressive to their girlfriend/wife is actually reinforcing that behavior and harming their relationship, not keeping the peace. Oh, so like their mom, so the guy's mom being passive aggressive to the girl is not good. So they're saying that we should call that shit out. So if we as the men are noticing our mom being passive aggressive, we don't sit there and just say nothing. We be like, yo, mom, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why are you saying that? You know what I mean? Because she's not going to say anything because she's like, that's my mother-in-law, or that's, you know, my man's mom. You know what I mean? I don't want to say anything bad about her, and then I'm in her house type shit. So it's one of those things where they want the guy to be like, mom, why are you saying that? What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Stick up for your girl a little bit is what they're saying. You know what I mean? Stick up for your girl. Stick up for your girl, especially to your mom. Now, for me, I don't really have that issue, thank God. You know, don't get me wrong. Like, my mom's not the type of person to say it to your face, to be honest with you. She'll kind of say it to you, or she'll say it to me, like when you're gone. But a lot of times I'd be straightening that up, and I'm like, no, don't say that. You know what I mean? Don't think that. You know what I mean? Like don't be a bitch. Like, stop. You know what I mean? Like, I like to keep it real with my mom just because I don't want to ever lie to my mom or make my mom look like, or you know, I don't want my mom to be looked at as the fool out here. You know what I mean? Because I ain't peeping her up on game. I like to peep my mom up on game, even if it like seems kind of rude, you know. And I tell her, I'm like, look, I'm just looking out for you. All right, I love you. And you know what I mean? If I didn't love you, I'd let you be looking like Boo Boo the Fool out here. You know what I mean? But I love you, so I'm not making you look like Boo Boo the Fool out here, and I'm letting you know what the real thing is. And don't say that about her because you don't know her like that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And I'm just saying, you know, that's okay. I get that one. 100%. I get that one. That my hobbies and interests being associated with femininity doesn't make them stupid or boring or any less gratifying. Okay. All right. True. And if I'm being honest with you guys, if you have a girl that has hobbies, that's a W, my guy. That is because there are so many chicks who are boring as fuck, and they expect you to always be the source of like their fun or entertainment. That shit gets annoying. Oh my God. Like, look, I don't mind a clingy girl. 100%. I don't mind that. But have some fucking substance. Like stuff. You know what I mean? Whether you like reading books, whether you like drawing, whether you like arts and crafts, whether you like, I don't know, making Pinterest boards. I don't give a fuck what it is. Just like something. I can't stand when a girl, and when you're just like, oh, you know, what do you like to do in your free time? And they're just like, oh, well, you know, I don't like being on social media and just hanging out with my friends and so. And it's just like, I can't be in a relationship with a girl like that. You got to have some hobbies, you know, because a lot of times I'll get into your hobbies too. I'm the type of dude like the reason that we do the kind of the spicy books and stuff on the show is because of an ex of mine. She was big into reading books and reading these kind of books mostly. And so I got into it. I would start reading them with her, you know what I mean? Or she would like, you know, read them out loud and I would kind of listen and whatnot. Yeah, and I got into it. It's crazy. It's like when your girl is watching an interesting TV show and then you know, you as the guy, you kind of walk by and you like, man, this show is stupid. And then you find yourself walking by it again. You like, what the fuck? Wasn't she with homeboy? And you know what I mean? She looking at you like, I thought this show was stupid. And you're like, no, it is stupid, but I thought she was with homeboy, but she not with homeboy no more? Like, damn, that's crazy. She move on quick, huh? I wonder how he felt about that. I'm just saying. And then he walks away, and then before you know it, nigga come back with some popcorn, and he like, oh, see, she ain't right for that one, huh? Yeah, she the hoe of the group, ain't she? Yeah. She the hoe of the group. Yeah. I figured you right, babe. You know what I mean? And that's just how it is. And I think dudes should be a little more into their girls' hobbies just off the fact that, like, it's a good way to spend time with your girl. You know what I mean? And it's nice to kind of bond over those kind of things a little bit. You ain't got to be into everything she likes, but you know what I mean? If it's interesting enough, yeah, definitely. Because I know I was like that when she kind of got me into the books and stuff like that. I was genuinely like, yo, this is how girls think. This is how they want a man in bed and stuff like that. It's just crazy. Like Haunting Adeline was something I would never, and I mean ever, read, you know, if it wasn't for me dating her. If I'm being honest with you. That's why when that book came out and I wanted to cover it on the podcast, you know, it was juicy. It was like watching TV, or it was like listening to TV. You know what I mean? And then I thought to myself, I was like, why not share this with you guys? And so that's where this came from. But yeah, I think, you know, as the man, you should get into your girl's hobbies just a little bit, just a little bit. You know what I mean? All right. We have no control over our periods, not when they come, not when they go, nothing. And the things we can get or take to minimize them often have harsh side effects that not all of us can or deal or want to deal with. This is something you must understand. See, that's why periods don't stop a sentence. Guys, don't be afraid to get a little blood on your sword. I'm telling you, man, that it's the best cure. It's the best cure. It is. And it's fantastic, too, because, let me be honest with you, man. Let me be honest with you. They, like when a girl's on her period and having sex, I think she's more sensitive down there. I really do. I don't know if that's true or not, but in my anecdotal experience, that's what it seems like. And I'll be sitting there thinking to myself, just like, you know, damn. When you were on your period, you was feeling it like crazy. But then when you're off, you still feeling it. It's good, but not to the same extent. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, ladies. Don't be shy. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know what I mean? But I don't know. That's how I be feeling about it, and that's why I've become one of those dudes that is just like, man, fuck that shit. I don't mind a little blood on my sword. I don't mind a fucking, you know, lay a towel down. We get over there, girl. You know what I mean? And then a lot of times, like I said, it'd be leaving them cramps. You know what I mean? It's like you got the greatest pill ever down there. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I feel like there'd be some females out there that are like, facts. Where do I get a man like that? Yeah. I'm just saying. All right. I know it's not just women that this happens to, but not being listened to in a academic/professional environment, we have helpful insight to problems just like men. We are smart and creative and skillful too. I'm tired of having my intelligence underestimated and ignored. Yeah, I completely understand that. I do. There are just a lot of times... it's a very small percentage of women who give good insight. A lot of times they either don't give a fuck, they're waiting for the guy to figure it out, or it just don't matter to them. You know what I mean? Or they'll just be spouting nonsense for nonsense sake. Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? But there are a very small percentage of women that actually know what the fuck they're talking about. I ain't gonna lie to you. I work with a handful of them. You know what I mean? I work with a few women that are like, in certain subjects, not about everything, but in certain things, extremely knowledgeable. And I'm just like, you know what? That fucking makes sense. You know? 100%. But most of the time, it's just emotional chaos with these women. And I'm like, all right, look, brother. Okay. All right. We gonna figure this out. Like, let's be honest here. Okay. Women have their moments. 100%. But most of the time they are emotional messes, and they're just like, somebody come fix this. And I'm just like, okay, let's get it done. Especially if it's something hands-on. You know what I mean? Like if the copy machine breaks or whatever, they go bananas. They go ballistic. They're like, what the fuck's going on? This thing just magically doesn't work anymore. Throw it out. And you're like, whoa, hold on. Sometimes the machine is telling you what's wrong with it. You know, it'll be the simplest thing is like swap out the ink cartridge. There's so many times I've helped a female coworker and they're just like, they can't print something out, and they're like, it's broken. And I'm like, what do you mean it's broken? and then I go over there and it's something as simple as an ink cartridge. That's the type of shit we're talking about, you know? And so that's why a lot of times you feel that way, where you're undermined and, you know, you feel like you can't problem solve shit. And so, because that happens. Now, again, like I said, not all the time. Sometimes you guys be having your categorical moments where you're like, you know more than the man does. And you're like, oh shit, okay, cool. And it's not about, you know, insignificant things. I'm not talking about, oh yeah, you guys only know about sewing and cooking and cleaning. No, I'm not saying that. Even though you guys be giving some bomb ass cleaning advice, I have like 8 different ways to clean my kitchen now. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be sexist, but you bitches get creative when it comes to cleaning the kitchen. Man, because there's sometimes there's just some stains that will not come off the stove, and they're just like, oh yeah, try a little bit of lemon juice and this and that, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I go home and try that shit. I'm like, son of a bitch, that works. I'm just saying. Don't shoot me. You know, just anecdotal evidence. That's all I'm saying. All right, but yeah, okay. Your jean pockets are much deeper than ours, hence our fondness in bags. Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. When jeggings were a fucking thing, I was like, why? Why waste the sewing power to sew a pocket that doesn't fucking work? What is the point in that? I understand why women stopped wearing jeggings. That shit was a lie. It made y'all asses look amazing. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? And obviously that's why leggings kind of took over. But jeggings never made any sense to me. I was like, the fuck are you wasting all that yarn on to stitch the outline of a pocket that doesn't exist? That shit blows my mind. I'm like, you women wore that for a long time. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know what I mean? And then it was funny because it was probably only a couple years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I never understood why women put their phones in their back pockets. Never understood that. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're asking a motherfucker to like steal your phone, you know? I never understood that. And then one of my friends, she was just like, do you really not know? And I'm like, no, why? Why do you put it in your back pocket? And I even ran her through a scenario too. Like, I walked up next to her and straight jacked her phone. She didn't even know it was gone. And I was like, see, you could literally get your phone just jacked. Like, girl, what are you doing? Put it in your front pocket. And then she's just like, put your hand in my pocket. And I'm like, whoa, hold up. And she's like, no, I'm serious. Put your hand in my pocket. That pocket is like this big. I'm like, what the fuck is that? You can keep some chapstick, and that's probably it. You can keep some chapstick in there and your pocket's full. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this? This ain't a pocket. This is highway robbery. I was blown away. I was like, yeah, okay, I see why you guys carry purses and big ass bags and shit. Like, god damn. Because you guys ain't got pockets. Like you keep the butt pocket full sized, but your front pockets are a quarter the size of a guy's pocket. That's crazy. It's not even half. It's a quarter the size of a pocket. Imagine paying full price for 25% of a pocket. That's crazy to me. You ladies are wild. Man, but hey, you know, it is what it is. I guess that's why y'all wear leggings now. All right. Here's a dumb one. The amount of toilet paper we use. Facts. Thank you for admitting that. I've seen a lot of men complain about how much toilet paper the women in their house go through. And they say things like, I hardly use any. Why can't they learn to live off a few squares like I do? Yo, she must have watched Tuesday. I said that in Tuesday's episode. I said that. I was just like, yo, women are fucking disgusting, bro. You know what I mean? It might not have been Tuesday's episode. It might have been a past episode, but I know I've said it on the podcast. Women in the bathroom are disgusting. The amount of toilet paper they use is ridiculous. Sometimes I remember when I used to live with my ex, there were sometimes I wake up in the morning and I take a piss and I don't hear my piss hitting the water. And I'm like, oh shit, like I must be missing the bowl or something. No, it's literally like a whole layer of toilet paper. And I'm like, babe, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And I'm like, what are you doing? Like she would, I'd feel like she would get done peeing, wipe her vagina, and then just throw a shit ton of toilet paper in there. I'm like, babe, what are you doing? Oh my God. And a lot of girls would be sitting there, no, not me. I don't do that. Oh, I use a good amount of toilet paper, not me. Uh-huh. Okay. All right. And move on with your lying ass. Get the fuck out of it. All right. Men don't understand that women have a lot more to clean up. Okay. All right. We'll see on that. Men usually only use it after going to or cleaning up a little drip. Women can't just shake it and be done. We also have discharge to clean up, which is consistent, not just when we're aroused, as some men believe. I thought discharge was just an ordinary thing. You guys just be dripping. It's only worse when we're ovulating. Then on top of that, we have periods to deal with. We need more toilet paper than you do. Get off our back. All right, whatever. All right, I ain't gonna fight you on it. It is what it is. I ain't got a vagina out here. It's fine. You know what I mean? That's wiener supremacy, baby. That's what it's all about. You know what I mean? We can shake and go, baby. You know what I mean? A little bit of shake and bake. You know what I mean? Oh man. But hey, it is what it is. All right. I've already come to terms with it because I've lived with a girl for 4 years, and for me, I looked at it like, you know what? It just is what it is. You ain't gonna change it. Yeah, and guys out there, if you haven't lived with a woman yet, just come into it, understanding she gonna use a fuck ton of toilet paper, you know? And it's funny because, like, even now that I'm single and I live on my own, I be buying a fuck ton of toilet paper for no reason. like you would think, you know, I'm over here preparing for COVID too or something. I got so much toilet paper, but I'm just so used to when I go to the grocery store and I'm like, oh yeah, I need some toilet paper. I just buy the big pack, you know, that has like 9 of them in it. And I don't need all that toilet paper. I don't need all that. But I just buy it out of instinct because for 4 years I was buying the 9-pack because I knew that she needed a shit ton of toilet paper, you know? So it just, I guess it's a good hobby to have, you know, for the next girl I date, whatever. But hey, you know what I mean? It is what it is, you know? All right. Let's see. How much our menstrual cycle affects us, not just the bleeding part. Hormones are a hell of a drug. Not to mention, hormonal birth control means we have to handle added hormones and side effects. Yeah. I mean, look, you know, for me, I'm the type of dude, whenever girl's on her period, she just, you know, she's getting a little emotional or whatever, I just leave her alone. You know what I mean? I just leave her alone. I just, hey, you want to come talk to me? Come talk to me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'll poke the bear with a stick a little bit, but I'll have some chocolate on the ready, you know? Just in case, you know what I mean? Just in case I poke the bear and it's like, and I'll just throw chocolate at it and it'll calm down and go away. And I'll be like, okay, we're good. Woo! You know? Or whatever the fuck she likes. You can't really throw Starbucks at her, but, you know, it's fine. The fact that pregnancy is objectively terrifying in every possible way. Hey, yo, you know what I mean? If I'm being honest with you, I'm afraid to get a girl pregnant. And like, okay, so with my ex, you know, we were planning to get married. Like, we were engaged. And so we were at a point, you know, where we were thinking about like having children and all that kind of stuff. But for me, I was just like, bro, I know when you're pregnant, I'm going to be freaking the fuck out. Why? Because, like, I'm going to treat her like glass. You know? I really am. I'm going to treat her like glass. Like, she could just fall apart at any moment. And for me, that freaks me the fuck out. You know? I would just be like, no. Like, no, don't get up. I got it. You know what I mean? Or, like, if she's going down some stairs or something like that. Oh, baby Jesus. I'm going to be right there holding her hand. I'm like, nope. Hold my hand and then hold the guardrail on the other side. The fuck out of here. I'm being dead serious. Yeah. I think for a first time dad, like a guy who really wants to be a dad, let's be real here, because there are a lot of motherfuckers that don't give a fuck about their girl being pregnant. It's kind of wild. I remember I went to the mall one day and I just saw this like random chick. I mean, she looked like fucking 7 months pregnant type shit, and a gut belly was just out of there. And I mean, she was just walking around like nothing. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Where her man at? What the fuck is going on here? You know, like, to me, that shit is just crazy. I understand for you guys, though, because it's like, it's literally a living alien in your body. That shit's kind of crazy. And then you get all fucking huge and shit. 100% understandable. Especially if you're a girl that goes from having a flat stomach to getting pregnant and then having a fucking baby. You're just like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Yeah, oh, 100%. 100%. I would never, ever doubt a woman being like afraid, you know, of pregnancy. Because I'm the same way. I'm going to be afraid. I'm going to be treating your bitch ass like glass. I'm like, bitch, you ain't going nowhere. What the hell are we talking about? You ain't even getting in the car. You know what I mean? I don't know. I get it. I'm going too far, but still, I know how I would be. I would just be like this out of instinct. It wouldn't even be a choice of me being like this. It would just be instinct. All right. That women aren't a monolith. Just because your ex liked X doesn't mean your new girlfriend will. Just because your mom liked X doesn't mean your aunt will. Just because your sister had light periods doesn't mean your friend is faking her pain, and on and on. Women are people, and while they share common experiences, they have their own preference. Well, you know, can you say that louder for the fucking bitches in the back? Because as a man, I feel like dudes go through this a lot more. I'm not saying that women don't go through this, because I'm sure they do, but I feel like dudes go through this way more. There's been so many times where I've been judged because of what her ex has done. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be very gentlemanly, open the door, you know, oh shit, you're cold, do you want my jacket? All that kind of stuff. And they're just looking at me like, all right. My ex was like this in the beginning too. You know what I mean? When are you gonna start acting like an asshole? When are you gonna start, you know, changing up on me? You know what I mean? And it's happened a lot. I wouldn't be saying this if it happened maybe once or twice. Nah, but it's happened almost every single time that I've met a girl, gone out on a date, all that kind of stuff. And it trips me the fuck out. I'm just like, yo, I'm not your ex. Like, what the fuck, dude? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? Like, sure, be skeptical. That's fine. But let my actions speak. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting here telling you that I'm this kind of guy. No, I'm showing you. I'm giving you actionable actions that you can go off of. But a lot of times they sit there and they're just like, my ex used to do that. My ex was like this. And that's why I'm wary. Like, Look, like I said, I'm not saying girls don't go through it, but I guarantee you dudes go through it way more. Way more. Man. You niggas that be fucking bitches up out here, man. God damn. All right, this is going to be our last one for this thread. That when we talk about feeling unsafe at night, walking home and stuff like that, we know 999 of 1,000 men we come up to are just normal men heading somewhere who don't mind us in any way. Problem is, we don't know who the one is that maybe has evil intentions. Oh, facts. 100%. Look, I went on a date recently, and her and I, we had a conversation about, like, dudes being creepy as fuck. Because she was a little apprehensive, let's say, to go out on this date with me. And, you know, I was making everything comfortable for her. You know, I was just like, you know, I'm old school, I'm a gentleman, you know, and I don't mind picking you up to go where we're going to go. But if you want to meet there, then that's fine. And that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to meet there. That's cool. You know what I mean? She was kind of worried about, like, money. Like, oh, you know, I don't think I have enough money to really, like, go on this date, whatever, blah, blah. And I told her, no, don't worry about it. Like, I'm asking you out on a date. I don't mind paying for everything. And so, you know, she was like, okay, all right, fine. You know, like, I'll go. Because I'm kind of killing all of her doubts, like, one by one, you know what I mean? And it's understandable. And so when her and I were out and, you know, we were talking, and I was just like, talking to her, and I was like, I'm really glad that you came out with me. You know what I mean? And look, I understand dudes are fucking weird. I do. I understand dudes are weird as fuck. You know what I mean? You can never know who the weirdos are and, you know what I mean, who the weird guys are and shit like that. I understand 100%. And that's why I set this date up the way I did, to the point where it's like, all you have to do is look cute and show up. I'll take care of the logistics and the rest. You know what I mean? And that really calmed her down. Like, okay, cool. He ain't a weirdo. And it's completely understandable. And that's why a lot of times, even if I'm approaching a girl because I'm interested in her, a lot of times I'll do it from a safety standpoint. And I'll try to make her feel comfortable first before I get flirty. So that way it's like, she's like, okay, cool. He ain't a weirdo. Now, you know what I mean? Now the flirtiness is not, it doesn't come off as like weird and like, what the fuck? What is, you know what I mean? She's like, what is your, intentions? You know what I mean? Like I get it 100%. Why? Because I have a lot of female friends and I have a lot of female coworkers, and they be telling me about the weird niggas that, you know, they be going on dates with, or, you know, that try to talk to them, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, dudes are mad weird. They will be doing the most out of nowhere. Like, they'll be whipping their dick out on the first hangout and shit like that. Like, bro, chill. You know what I mean? It's like, yo. So again, 100%. I completely understand that with you. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of guys should kind of have those conversations a little more with the women that they go on dates with and stuff like that. Just because it allows you to kind of gauge her understanding of, you know, what's safe, and that way you can kind of create that environment for her. And if I'm being honest with you, man, you know, she'll get really comfortable with you quick, you know, because she is realizing that you're putting her safety first, you know what I mean, versus trying to get the coochie. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, guys, we out there trying to get the coochie. I understand that, but you know what I mean? Putting her safety first and, you know, really letting her know that and hammering that down, she's going to get comfortable with you quick. All right, but that's going to be that thread, man. Hope you guys enjoy that thread. Ladies, down in the comments, or you guys want to write, you know, some more things that men just don't fucking get, put them down in the comments. Share with us, you know, guys, let me know what you thought about the ones that we went over. You know, let me know your experiences, all that good stuff. And without further ado, though, I'm gonna hop into announcements super fast, blow through that, and then we're gonna get into chapters 33 and 34 of A Court of Thorns and Roses. And yeah, so patreon.com/MileyAsshole Podcast. Get an exclusive episode every single Friday, as well as being able to send in your scenario to be featured on the Tuesday and Sunday show. We have a year's worth of content over there, man. Get in there, check that out. $3 a month gets you all of that. I'm never gonna raise the price on you guys. If you are a little apprehensive about it and you're like, I don't know, I do have a playlist down there. It is the free Patreon episodes playlist. I have one for Spotify as well as YouTube. So no matter what your cup of tea is, I got you. So go in there, check that out, get a sample platter, and see if you like what you like over there, or see if you like what you hear over there, and check it out. And so, if you're an audio listener, keep downloading the podcast. It shows me that you guys are loving the episodes and you're coming back every week for them, as well as rate the show 5 stars if you haven't already. It helps get new people in here, and it just helps us build a bigger of a community and get the show out there. Appreciate you guys. Love you for that support. If you want to help out even more on the $3.99 side, yes, I said free side of things, go ahead and follow us on our socials, Instagram, TikTok, as well as YouTube. It helps out a lot, and it's free, baby. If you like this episode and you want to check out even more, that's the places to do it. If you want just the bite-sized clips of all the episodes and stuff like that, TikTok and Instagram is the place to do it. I'd follow on Instagram over TikTok, just because TikTok, yeah, I probably post more on Instagram than I do TikTok, but it's weird because TikTok gets the most reach, but Instagram lets me post what I want. It sucks. It's just the weirdest thing ever, and so that's why I ask you guys just to follow on both. You know what I mean? So that way you can show your support on TikTok, but at the same time, you can get the juicy content on the Instagram. But without further ado, though, let's get into chapters 23 and 24 of A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm going to move you guys over. Hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties. Oops. Oh, God. Sorry about that. Wrong button.
You wish. Chapter 33. I might have been going to my death, but I wouldn't arrive unarmed. I tightened the strap of the quiver across my chest and then grazed my fingers over the arrow feathers peeking over my shoulder. Of course, there were no ash arrows, but I would make do with what I'd found scattered throughout the manor. I could have taken more, but weapons would only weigh me down, and I didn't know how to use most of them anyway. So I wore a full quiver, 2 daggers at my waist, and a bow slung over a shoulder. Better than nothing, even if I was up against fairies who'd been born knowing how to kill. Alice led me through the silent woods and foothills, pausing every so often to listen, to alter our course. I didn't want to know what she heard or smelled out there, not when such stillness blanketed the lands. Stay with the High Lord, the Suriel had said. Stay with him, fall in love with him, and all would be righted. If I had stayed, if I had admitted what I'd felt, none of this would have happened. The world steadily filled with night, and my legs ached from the steep slopes of the hills, but Alice pressed on, never once looking back to see that I followed. I was beginning to wonder whether I should have brought more than a day's worth of food when she stopped in the hollow between 2 hills. The air was cold, far colder than the air at the top of the hill, and I shivered as my eyes fell upon a slender cave mouth. There was no way this was the entrance. Not when that mural had painted under the mountain to be in the center of Prythian. It was weeks of travel away. All dark and miserable roads lead under the mountain, Alice said, so quietly that her voice was nothing more than the rustling of leaves. She pointed to the cave. It's an ancient shortcut, once considered sacred, but no more. This was the cave Lucian had ordered the Adder not to use that day. I tried to master my trembling. I loved Tamlin, and I would go to the ends of the earth to make it right, to save him. But if Amarantha was worse than the Adder, if the Adder wasn't the wickedest of her cronies, if even Tamlin had been scared of her. I reckon you're regretting your hot-headedness right now. I straightened. I will free him. You'll be lucky if she gives you a clean death. You'll be lucky if you even get brought before her. I must have turned pale, because she pursed her lips and patted me on the shoulder. A few rules to remember, girl, she said, and we both stared at the cave mouth. The darkness reeked from its maw to poison the fresh night air. Don't drink the wine. It's not like what we had at the solstice, and will do more harm than good. Don't make deals with anyone unless your life depends on it, and even then, consider whether it's worth it. And most of all, don't trust a soul in there, not even your Tamlin. Your senses are your greatest enemies. They will be waiting to betray you. I fought the urge to touch one of my daggers and nodded my thanks instead. Do you have a plan? No, I admitted. Don't expect that steel to do you any good, she said with a glance at my weapons. I don't. I faced her, biting the inside of my lip. There was one part of the curse. One part we can't tell you, even now. My bones are crying out just for mentioning it. One part you have to figure out on your own. One part she swallowed loudly. That she still doesn't want you to know. If I can't say it, she gasped out. But keep your ears open, girl. Listen to what you hear. I touched her arm. I will. Thank you for bringing me. For wasting precious hours when that satchel of supplies, for herself, for her boys, said enough about where she was going. It's a rare day indeed when someone thanks you for bringing them to their death. If I thought about the danger too long, I might lose my nerve, Tamlin or no. She wasn't helping. I'll wish you luck nonetheless, Alice added. Once you retrieve them, if you and your nephews need somewhere to flee, I said, cross the wall. Go to my family's house. I told her the location. Ask for Nesta, my eldest sister. She knows who you are, knows everything. She will shelter you in any way she can. Nesta would do it too, I knew now. Even if Alice and her boys terrified her, she would keep them safe. Alice patted my hand. Stay alive, she said. I looked at her one last time, then at the night sky that was unfurling above us, and at the deep green of the hills, the color of Tamlin's eyes. I walked into the cave. The only sounds were my shallow breathing and the crunch of my boots on stone. Stumbling through the frigid dark, I inched onward. I kept close to the wall, and my hand soon turned numb as the cold, wet stone bit into my skin. I took small steps, fearful of some invisible pit that might send me tumbling to my doom. After what felt like an eternity, a crack of orange light cleaved through the dark. And then came the voices. Hissing and braying, eloquent and guttural, a cacophony bursting the silence like a firecracker. I pressed myself against the cave wall, but the sounds passed and faded. I crept toward the light, blinking back my blindness when I found the source, a slight fissure in the rock. It opened onto a crudely carved, fire-lit subterranean passageway. I lingered in the shadows, my heart wild in my chest. The crack in the cave wall was large enough for one person to squeeze through, so jagged and rough that it was obviously not often used. A glance at the dirt revealed no tracks, no sign of anyone else using this entrance. The hallway beyond was clear, but it veered off, obscuring my view. The passage was deathly quiet, but I remembered Alice's warning and didn't trust my ears, not when fairies could be silent as cats. Still, I had to leave this cave. Tamlin had been here for weeks already. I had to find where Amarantha kept him, and hopefully not run into anyone in the process. Killing animals and the Naga had been one thing, but killing any others... I took several deep breaths, bracing myself. It was the same as hunting, only this time the animals were fairies who could torture me endlessly, torture me until I begged for death, torture me the way they tormented that summer court fairy whose wings had been ripped off. I didn't let myself think about those bleeding stumps as I eased toward the tiny opening, sucking in my stomach to squeeze through. My weapons scraped against the stone, and I winced at the hiss of falling pebbles. Keep moving, keep moving. Hurrying across the open hallway, I pressed into an alcove in the opposite wall. It didn't provide much cover. I slunk along the wall, pausing at the bend in the hall. This was a mistake. Only an idiot would come here. I could be anywhere in Amarantha's court. Alice should have given me more information. I should have been smart enough to ask, or smart enough to think of another way. Any but this. I risked a glance around the corner and almost sobbed in frustration. Another hallway carved out of the mountain's pale stone, lined on either side by torches. No shadowy spots for concealment, and at its other end, my view was yet again obscured by a sharp turn. It was wide open. I was as good as a starving doe, ripping bark off a tree in a clearing. But the halls were silent. The voices I'd heard earlier were gone. And if I heard anyone, I could sprint back to that cave mouth. I could do reconnaissance for a time, gather information, find out where Tamlin was. No. A second opportunity might not arise for a while. I had to act now. If I stopped for too long, I'd never work up the nerve again. I made to slip around the corner. Long, bony fingers wrapped around my arm, and I went rigid. A pointed, leathery gray face came into view, and its silver fangs glistened as it smiled at me. "Hello," it hissed. "What's something like you doing here?" I knew that voice. It still haunted my nightmares. So it was all I could do to keep from screaming as its bat-like ears cocked, and I realized that I stood before the Adder. Chapter 34. The Adder kept its icy grip on my upper arm as it half-dragged me to the throne room. It didn't bother to strip me of my weapons. We both knew they were of little use. Tamlin, Alice and her boys, my sisters, Lucian. I silently chanted their names again and again as the Adder loomed above me, a demon of malice. Its leathery wings rustled occasionally, and had I been able to speak without screaming, I might have asked why it hadn't killed me outright. The Adder just tugged me onward with that slithering gait, its clawed feet making leisurely scratches on the cave floor. It looked unnervingly identical to how I had painted it. Leering faces, cruel and harsh, watched me go by, none of them looking remotely concerned or disturbed that I was in the claws of the Adder. Fairies, lots of them, but few high fae to be seen. We strode through two ancient, enormous stone doors, taller than Tamlin's manor, and into a vast chamber carved from pale rock, upheld by countless carved pillars. That small part of me that had again become trivial and useless noticed that the carvings weren't just ornate designs, but actually depicted fairies and high fae and animals in various environments and states of movement. Countless stories of Prythian were etched on them. Chandeliers of jewels hung between the pillars, staining the red marble floor with color. Here were the high fae. An assembled crowd took up most of the space, some of them dancing to strange off-kilter music, some milling about, chatting, a party of sorts. I thought I spied some glittering masks among the attendees, but everything was a blur of sharp teeth and fine clothing. The Adder hurled me forward, and the world spun. The cold marble floor was unyielding as I slammed into it, my bones groaning and barking. I pushed myself up, sparks dancing in my eyes, but stayed on the ground, kept low as I beheld the dais before me. A few steps led onto the platform. I lifted my head higher. There, lounging on a black throne, was Amarantha. Though lovely, she wasn't as devastatingly beautiful as I had imagined. Wasn't some goddess of darkness and spite. It made her all the more petrifying. Her red gold hair was neatly braided and woven through her golden crown, the deep color enriching her snow-white skin, which in turn set off her ruby lips. But while her ebony eyes shone, there was something that sucked at her beauty, some kind of permanent sneer to her features that made her allure seem contrived and cold. To paint her would have driven me to madness. The highest commander of the King of Highburn, she'd slaughtered human armies centuries ago, had murdered her slaves rather than free them, and she'd captured all of Prythian in a matter of days. Then I looked to the black rock throne beside her and my arms buckled beneath me. He was still wearing that golden mask, still wearing his warrior's clothes, that baldric, even though there were no knives sheathed along it, not a single weapon anywhere on him. His eyes didn't widen, his mouth didn't tighten, no claws, no fangs. He just stared at me, unfeeling, unmoved, unimpressed. "What's this?" Amarantha said, her voice lilting despite the adder's smile she gave me. From her slender, creamy neck hung a long, thin chain, and from it dangled a single age-worn bone the size of a finger. I didn't want to consider whom it might have belonged to as I remained on the floor. If I shifted my arm, I could draw my dagger. "Just a human thing I found downstairs," the adder hissed, and a forked tongue darted out between its razor-sharp teeth. It flapped its wings once, blasting foul-smelling air at me, and then neatly tucked them behind its skeletal body. "Obviously," Amarantha purred. I avoided meeting her eyes, focusing on Tamlin's brown boots. He was 10 feet from me. 10 feet, and not saying a word, not even looking horrified or angry. But why should I bother with her? The adder chuckled, the sound like sizzling water on a griddle, and a taloned foot jabbed my side. "Tell Her Majesty why you were sneaking around the catacombs, why you came out of the old cave that leads to the spring court." Would it be better to kill the adder, or to try to make it to Amarantha? The adder kicked me again, and I winced as its claws bit into my ribs. "Tell Her Majesty, you human filth!" I needed time. I needed to figure out my surroundings. If Tamlin was under some kind of spell, then I would have to worry about grabbing him. I eased to my feet, keeping my hands within casual reach of my daggers. I stared at Amarantha's glittering golden gown rather than meet her eyes. "I came to claim the one I love," I said quietly. Perhaps the curse could still be broken. Again I looked at him, and the sight of those emerald eyes was a balm. "Oh?" Amarantha said, leaning forward. "I've come to claim Tamlin, High Lord of the Spring Court." A gasp rippled through the assembled court, but Amarantha tipped back her head and laughed, a raven's caw. The High Queen turned to Tamlin, and her lips pulled back in a wicked smile. "You certainly were busy all those years. Developed a taste for human beasts, did you?" He said nothing, his face impassive. What had she done? He didn't move. Her curse had worked then. I was too late. I'd failed him. Damned him. "But," Amarantha said slowly. I could sense the adder in the entire court looming behind me. "It makes me wonder if only one human girl could be taken once she killed your sentinel." Her eyes sparked. "Oh, you are delicious. You let me torture that innocent girl to keep this one safe? You lovely thing. You actually made a human worm love you. Marvelous." She clapped her hands, and Tamlin merely looked away from her, the only reaction I'd seen from him. Tortured. She'd tortured. "Let him go," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Amarantha laughed again. "Give me one reason why I shouldn't destroy you where you stand, human." Her teeth were so straight and white, almost glowing. My blood pounded in my veins, but I kept my chin high as I said, "You tricked him. He is bound unfairly." Tamlin had gone very, very still. Amarantha clicked her tongue and looked at one of her slender white hands, at the ring on her index finger. A ring, I noticed as she lowered her hand again, set with what looked like a human eye encased in crystal. I could have sworn it swiveled inside. You human beasts are so uncreative. We spent years teaching you poetry and fine speech, and that is all you can come up with? I should rip out your tongue for letting it go to waste. I clamped my teeth together. But I'm curious. What eloquence will pour from your lips when you behold what you should have been? My brows narrowed as Amarantha pointed behind me, that hideous eye ring indeed looking with her, and I turned. There, nailed high on the wall of the enormous cavern, was the mangled corpse of a young woman. Her skin was burned in places, her fingers were bent at odd angles, and garish red lines crisscrossed her naked body. I could hardly hear Amarantha over the roar in my ears. Perhaps I should have listened when she said she'd never seen Tamlin before, Amarantha mused. Or when she insisted she'd never killed a fairy, never hunted a day in her life. Though her screaming was delightful, I haven't heard such lovely music in ages. Her next words were directed at me. I should thank you for giving Rhysand her name instead of yours. Claire better. This was where they'd taken her, what they'd done to her after they burned her family alive in their house. This was what I'd done to her by giving Rhysand her name to protect my family. My insides twisted. It was a concentrated effort not to empty my stomach onto the stones. The adder's talons dug into my shoulders as it shoved me around to face Amarantha, who was still giving me that snake's smile. I had as good as killed Claire. I'd saved my own life and damned her. That rotting body on the wall should be mine. 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 Come now, precious, Amarantha said. What have you to say to that? I wanted to spit that she deserved to burn in hell for eternity, but I could only see Claire's body nailed there, even as I stared blankly at Tamlin. He'd let them kill Claire like that, to keep them from knowing that I was alive. My eyes stung as bile burned my throat. Do you still wish to claim someone who would do that to an innocent? Amarantha said softly, consolingly. I snapped my gaze to her. I wouldn't let Claire's death be in vain. I wasn't going down without a fight. Yes, I said. Yes, I do. Her lip curled back, revealing two sharp canines, and as I stared into her black eyes, I realized I was going to die. But Amarantha leaned back in her throne and crossed her legs. Well, Tamlin, she said, putting a proprietary hand on his arm. I don't suppose you ever expected this to occur. She waved a hand in my general direction. A murmur of laughter from those assembled echoed around me, hitting me like stones. What do you have to say, High Lord? I looked at the face I loved so dearly, and his next words almost sent me to my knees. I've never seen her before. Someone must have glamoured her as a joke, probably Rhysand. Still trying to protect me, even now, even here. Oh, that's not even a halfway decent lie. Amarantha angled her head. Could it be that you, despite your words so many years ago, returned the humans' feelings? A girl with hate in her heart for our kind has managed to fall in love with a fairy, and a fairy whose father once slaughtered the human masses by my side has actually fallen in love with her too? She let out that crow's laugh again. Oh, this is too good. This is too fun. She fingered the bone hanging from her necklace and looked at the encased eye upon her hand. I suppose if anyone can appreciate the moment, she said to the ring, it would be you, Jurian. She smiled prettily. A pity your human whore on the side never bothered to save you, though. Jurian, that was his eye, his finger bone. Horror coiled in my gut. Through whatever evil, whatever power, she somehow held his soul, his consciousness to the ring, the bone. Tamlin still looked at me without recognition, without a flicker of feeling. Perhaps she had used that same power to glamour him. Perhaps she'd taken all his memories. The Queen picked at her nails. Things have been awfully boring since Claire decided to die on me. Killing you outright, human, would be dull. She flicked her gaze to me, then back to her nails, to the ring on her finger. But fate stirs the cauldron in strange ways. Perhaps my darling Claire had to die in order for me to have some true amusement with you. My bowels turned watery. I couldn't help it. You came to claim Tamlin, Amarantha said. It wasn't a question, but a challenge. Well, as it happens, I'm bored to tears of his sullen silence. I was worried when he didn't flinch while I played with darling Claire, when he didn't even show those lovely claws. But I'll make a bargain with you, human, she said, and warning bells pealed in my mind. Unless your life depends on it, Alice had said. You complete 3 tasks of my choosing, 3 tasks to prove how deep that human sense of loyalty and love runs, and Tamlin is yours. Just 3 little challenges to prove your dedication, to prove to me, to darling Jurian, that your kind can indeed love true, and you can have your High Lord. She turned to Tamlin. Consider it a favor, High Lord. These human dogs can make our kind so lust-blind that we lose all common sense. Better for you to see her true nature now. I want his curse broken, too, I blurted. She raised a brow, her smile growing, revealing far too many of those white teeth. I complete all 3 of your tasks, and his curse is broken, and we, and all of his court, can leave here, and remain free forever, I added. Magic was specific, Alice had said. That was how Amarantha had tricked them. I wouldn't let loopholes be my downfall. Of course, Amarantha purred. I'll throw in another element if you don't mind. Just to see if you're worthy of one of our kind, if you're smart enough to deserve him. Jurian's eye swiveled wildly, and she clicked her tongue at it. The eye stopped moving. I'll give you a way out, girl, she went on. You'll complete all the tasks, or, when you can't stand it anymore, all you have to do is answer one question. I could barely hear her above the blood pounding in my ears. A riddle. You solve the riddle, and his curse will be broken, instantaneously. I won't even need to lift my finger and he'll be free. Say the right answer, and he's yours. You can answer it at any time, but if you answer incorrectly... She pointed, and I didn't need to turn to know she gestured to Claire. I turned her words over, looking for traps and loopholes within her phrasing. But it all sounded right. And what if I fail your tasks? Her smile became almost grotesque, and she rubbed a thumb across the dome of her ring. If you fail a task, there won't be anything left of you for me to play with. A chill slithered down my spine. Alice had warned me against bargains, but Amarantha would kill me in an instant if I said no. What is the nature of my tasks? Oh, revealing that would take all the fun out of it. But I'll tell you that you'll have one task every month, at the full moon. And in the meantime, I dared a glance at Tamlin. The gold in his eyes was brighter than I remembered. In the meantime, Amarantha said a bit sharply, you shall either remain in your cell or do whatever additional work I require. If you run me ragged, won't that put me at a disadvantage? I knew she was losing interest, that she hadn't expected me to question her so much, but I had to try to gain some kind of edge. Nothing beyond basic housework. It's only fair for you to earn your keep. I could have strangled her for that, but I nodded. Then we are agreed. I knew she waited for me to echo her response, but I had to make sure. If I complete your 3 tasks or solve your riddle, you'll do as I request? Of course, Amarantha said. Is it agreed? His face ghastly white. Tamlin's eyes met with mine, and they almost imperceptibly widened. No. But it was either this or death. Death like Claire's, slow and brutal. The adder hissed behind me, a warning to reply. I didn't believe in fate or the cauldron, and I had no other choice. Because when I looked into Tamlin's eyes, even now, seated beside Amarantha as her slave or worse, I loved him with a fierceness that swept up my whole heart. Because when he had widened his eyes, I'd known he still loved me. I had nothing left but that, but the shred of fool's hope that I might win, that I might outwit and defeat a fairy queen as ancient as the stone beneath me. Well? Amarantha demanded. Behind me, I sensed the adder preparing to pounce, to beat the answer from me if need be. She'd tricked them all, but I hadn't survived poverty and years in the woods for naught. My best chance lay in revealing nothing about myself or what I knew. What was her court but another forest, another hunting ground? I glanced at Tamlin one last time before I said, agreed. Amarantha gave me a small, horrible smile, and magic sizzled in the air between us as she snapped her fingers. She nestled back in her throne. Give her a greeting worthy of my hall, she said to someone behind me. The adder's hiss was my only warning as something rock-hard collided with my jaw. I was thrown sideways, stunned from the pain, but another brutal blow to my face awaited. Bones crunched, my bones. My legs twisted beneath me, and the adder's leathery skin grated against my cheek as it punched me again. I ricocheted away, but met with the fist of another, a twisted lesser fairy whose face I didn't glimpse. It was like being slugged with a brick. Crunch, crack. I think there were 3 of them, and I became their punching bag, passed off from blow to blow, my bones screaming in agony. Maybe I was screaming in agony too. Blood sprayed from my mouth, and its metallic tang coated my tongue before I knew no more. Chapter 35.
Okay. All right. That was chapters 33 and 34. Woo! Looks like our girl Feyre's got... Whew, she's got a lot going on. Oh man, I wonder what these 3 challenges. I don't know how she's gonna get through that. I mean, if Amaranthia can whoop on our boys, Lucian why can't I remember his name for some reason? Tamlin. I mean, if she can whoop on these dudes to the point where when Feyre showed up, they're just beat up and torn up. Like, I don't know if our girl Feyre gonna be able to hold tight in this one. I mean, shit. She already getting punched out and spitting blood, so we'll see. We'll see what happens next week. Sucks to leave you on a cliffhanger like that, but we going to. We'll see you guys next week on this. Oh man, I'm excited. But without further ado, love you guys all. I'll see you if you're on Patreon, I'll see you on Friday. If not, then I'll see you on Tuesday. Love you all and peace.